A light rain fell over the simple streets of the small town, while the gray sky seemed to carry the same weight that rested inside Pastor Plinio's heart. The little yellow church on the corner, small and humble, was almost empty that Sunday night. The few wooden chairs still held the echo of the worship song sung by half a dozen simple believers, the kind who arrived exhausted from the week, yet still found the strength to worship God. The service had ended. The dim lights flickered while the old ceiling fan made a tired, rattling noise overhead. Pastor Plinio slowly walked toward the church door and began locking the padlock. His hands were rough and worn, marked by years of hard work and silent struggles that no one ever saw. Behind him, his wife held a Bible already worn down by time. She watched her husband in silence, like someone carrying a worry far too old to speak out loud. But that night she spoke. She gently placed her hand on his shoulder and quietly said, "There's nothing at home today." The pastor stopped. She took a deep breath before continuing. "There's no rice, no beans, not even a single grain left." A heavy silence fell between them. The boy, standing a few steps behind, watched everything. He was only 11 years old, but poverty forces a child to grow up far too soon. He knew his parents' looks. He knew the silences. He knew the days when hope seemed smaller than hunger. The pastor took a few steps forward, trying to hide his face. But the boy noticed. His father's shoulders were trembling. He was crying. He didn't want his family to see him. Maybe because a pastor feels like he has to be strong all the time. Maybe because he felt he failed as a husband, as a father, as a man of God. The mother then looked at the boy and tried to smile, but her eyes were filled with tears. "I don't think God sent us here, son," she said softly. "I think it was your father's enthusiasm." The boy frowned. He still didn't fully understand the weight of those words. Then she said something he would never forget. "What worries me in all of this is God's reputation." "God's reputation?" The boy asked, confused. She nodded. "Yes, what will people think of him? Because he was the one who sent us here. He was the one who called your father. And when we took you in to raise you, God said you would become a preacher of his word." She looked deeply into the boy's eyes. "How are you supposed to want to serve a God who can't even provide for his own servants?" Those words pierced the child's heart like an arrow. And for the first time, the boy felt fear. Not fear of hunger, but fear that maybe God had forgotten him. The three of them walked in silence to the small, simple house where they lived. The door creaked as it opened. Everything there was humble. The old couch, the tiny table, the floor worn down by time. The mother went into the bedroom and slowly closed the door. A few moments later, the boy heard her crying, muffled by the pillow. The pastor went straight to the kitchen. The boy remained seated in the living room, staring into nothingness, trying to understand why people who serve God so faithfully were going through something like this. Then he started hearing noises coming from the kitchen. Plates, silverware, pots and pans. Strange, very strange, because he knew there was no food. Suddenly, his father's voice echoed through the house. "Come on, let's give thanks." The boy's eyes widened. Give thanks for what? He thought. Every Sunday, there was a tradition in that house. Pasta with chicken. It was simple, but it was special. The pastor always said that Sunday was a day to celebrate God's faithfulness. They would sing a worship song, hold hands, and then eat together. But that Sunday, there was nothing. Even so, his father called out again, "Come, let's give thanks." The boy slowly walked into the kitchen. That scene was forever etched into his memory. 3 white plates on the table. Empty. Not a single grain of rice. Not a piece of bread. Nothing. The mother came out of the bedroom, wiping away her tears, looking around without understanding. Then the pastor smiled. Not the smile of a man who had food, but the smile of a man who still had faith. He held out his hands. "Let's pray." The 3 of them held hands around the empty table. And then that simple man began to speak to God. "Lord," this is Plinio speaking, "your servant," his voice trembled. "You know it was you who called me. It was you who promised to take care of me and my household." The boy's eyes filled with tears. "You know that every Sunday in our home, we have pasta with chicken. And you know that before we eat, we sing a worship song to you." The pastor took a deep breath. "But today I'm praying just to let you know that today there's no pasta. The mother began to cry softly. So today, all we'll have is a worship song. And there, before empty plates, they began to sing a song of gratitude to our God. It was a broken song, soaked with tears, a worship song from weary people, but sincere. And maybe that is exactly the kind of worship that touches heaven the most. The boy closed his eyes as they sang. And then, ding, 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 ding. The doorbell started ringing frantically. It wasn't a normal knock. It was someone pressing the bell with urgency. The father stopped singing. The mother quickly wiped away her tears. The boy ran to the door. When he opened it, he saw a large man standing there. Simple, sweaty, holding several bags in his hands. And before the man could say anything, a wonderful smell filled the hallway. Pasta with chicken. The boy felt his stomach twist with hunger. The man looked at him and asked, "Does the pastor of that little yellow church on the corner live here?" Yes, sir," the boy replied. The pastor stepped up behind him. "How can I help you, my friend?" The man looked a little uncomfortable. He scratched his head before speaking. "Pastor, I'm not even evangelical, you know. To be honest, I don't really have a religion at all." The pastor listened in silence. "But I was at the grocery store, and I felt something strange, a voice inside me saying, 'Buy food and take it to the pastor of the little yellow church.'" The boy's eyes widened. The man continued, "So I grabbed rice, beans, some groceries." He looked at the family, deeply moved. "But when I was at the checkout line, I heard that voice again speaking to me." Silence filled the room. "Take them something ready to eat, because they're already sitting at the table waiting." The mother covered her mouth with her hand and began to cry. The man then lifted the food containers. "Nam, I'm sorry. The grocery store didn't have many ready-made options this late." He smiled. "The only thing I could find was pasta with chicken." Pastor Plinio fell to his knees, not before the man, but before God. The boy never forgot that moment, because that day he learned something he would carry with him for the rest of his life. God may sometimes seem late in our eyes, but he is never late. Sometimes heaven stays silent to test whether we will still sing before empty plates. Because true faith is not born when the table is full. True faith is born when there is nothing on the table. And even then, you still hold hands and give thanks. That night, as the three of them ate the most delicious pasta with chicken of their lives, the boy looked at his father and understood. God had not abandoned that family. In fact, he had been sitting at the table with them the whole time.